Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you all had a nice break. Went to the bathroom, got some food, got a snack, water, whatever. And I hope you're ready to watch even more Ori in the Blind Forest. I'm Jay Hobbs. I'm now joined with Sigma, who is very excited for this match, as I am, I'm sure, because it's pretty much a lock for Fant, right, Sigma? I mean, I don't see how this could
as
go
you can
either
see,
way, the other way.
Fant's seed is 32, and that's a lot higher than 1, so he's got to be better.
Yep. I don't really see how it could go any other way.
Yeah. Other things you can notice is Fant's name is on top of Hetfield's in this image.
Yeah, I believe the people on top always win, right? Like that's definitely what happened in another matchup in this round of 32 in this division. Definitely.
Yeah, actually, Fant was on top in that one and he won, so he probably is going to do it again. And if we look down there, Grim won and he was on top. And then just don't look at the bottom half of the bracket, and this holds pretty solidly.
With all seriousness, all joking aside, it would be quite incredible if Fant managed to take this one away. Hetfield, of course, at the number 1 seed, being the world record holder currently, although he hasn't really been running all skills as much lately. Isn't that right, Sigma?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting story for Het leading up to this match, because he has the world record, and since he got it, he hasn't done any PB attempts, because, the run is insane. It was like less than 20 seconds off of his sum of best, so there's really no motivation to improve it. So he said, okay, I'm very satisfied with this Ori run, I'm going to move on, and he's been running Mega Man Zero since. So he hasn't been doing a ton of Ori runs recently. And as Het put it himself, he rusts like more thoroughly and faster than anybody else he knows. So 2 to 3 days ago, he started doing some derust runs for this match, and in that stream he was putting together streams of like 40 plus times, which is some of them were he said it was worse than the first run he ever did of all skills without knowing the route, just doing a blind race with people.
Oh, no. And he'll be up against 39-31 PB from Fant. So I mean, if we see another one of those from Het, you never know.
Yeah, although that said, the story does go on. He picked the right time to derust, I think, because late last night he busted out another stream, and he pulled off a 34 flat and then a 32 flat, which was not a 31 because he forgot to turn off the UI at the end.
Oh. No.
But yeah, 31, nobody except for Het has ever gotten a 31. He has many of them because he's a beast, and he's knocked off the rust. So maybe 2 days ago Fant would have had a chance here, but unless Het reverts to his sort of clunky play that he had when he was not used to his binds and stuff again from being in Mega Man Zero mode for so long, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
It is worth noting that Hetfield expected to be up against Mr. Asmus and lose to him. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll have a little bit of jitters with an unknown opponent for Het.
Yeah, I think the way it's gonna go is that Het has a burning fire lit in his heart, and he wants to avenge Mr. Asmus. Because
that's a good point.
Everybody's prediction bracket, I don't remember the entire set of stats, but the predictions of the 27 prediction brackets that we had 26 of them predicting Hetfield to win. Hetfield predicting himself to lose to Mr. Asmus in this match, but since Mr. Asmus, or Rasmus as his name actually goes, lost to Fant in the pre-elimination round, Het's got to take matters into his own hands here.
Yeah, and I mean, we're obviously joking around a bit, and we expect Hetfield to win. However, there are still some traps that Het could fall into and kind of end up potentially having some of that clunky play like Sigmund was talking about. There was the new tech found not even found, but just adopted from the TAS by Het recently in Sorrow Pass that we saw from Raz earlier. I wonder if we'll see Het go for that, and I imagine that Hetfield, if he does decide to go for something like that, he'll probably keep going for it until he misses. And it's a
Well,
series of 1 to 2 frame tricks over and over again. So who knows? Could run into some
yeah.
problems there.
I do know that he's definitely going to go for that, so we're gonna have to see the that strat from the originator of it himself. But I don't think he's going to reattempt it if he kills the frog, because he's not going to save in Suro. So the next fastest backup, if you kill that frog, is to just do the laser strat the old way, basically.
Okay, so we won't be seeing any kind of stubbornness from him making
Yeah,
a
he's
save.
not going to have a save rate before, and he's not going to bash his head into it, unless some. Then this would be the kind of catastrophic thing that you'd need to happen to give Fant a chance to catch up to him here. But like, say he somehow dies during it, which I don't quite know how it would happen, but it's possible. There's spikes around, and then he'd be back at Feather, and he'd probably just go for the exact same thing again. But I don't think a death is too likely. The most likely way to fail this new tech is you kill the frog, and then he'll just opt for the laser strat at that point.
Definitely. It is worth noting, though, that Hetfield, I believe, has had the longest break of anybody else in the tournament between matches, because all 3 of his group matches were scheduled very early in the group stage, and then he had a bye effectively through the prelimination round. Whereas Fant, he finished some of his group stage matches pretty late in the group stage and just had a prelimination match just a few days ago. So again, probably not going to be too big of a deal. Hetfield, I'm sure, is not too worried coming into this match, too nervous or anything like that. But he is sitting a lot more cold when it comes to these race experiences. I imagine the Mega Man Zero tournament is probably kept his mind in a tournament mindset, but you never know. We do know Fant has had one just recently, within the last few days.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're predicting Hetfield to win. It's an easy prediction to make. The first seed, world record holder, really good runner. But, like I said, just a few days ago, Het was having a lot of troubles with things. And also, Het has a bit of a predisposition towards soft locking the game. I mentioned I was watching his stream last night when he was finally knocking some of the rust off. But he did manage to soft lock twice in rather catastrophic ways both times during that. So could be a could be a little interesting if some of that stuff happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to quickly just correct something I said. I believe Hetfield got second on the Mega Man Zero leaderboards and was not participating in a Mega Man Zero tournament, I don't think, unless I'm mistaken.
I don't think there's a Mega Man Zero tournament running right now.
A little bit of a mistake by me there. We get it wrong sometimes, but we'll be coming into this race pretty shortly. You can take a look at the stats on your screen. One of the things that's very interesting to note, I think, is that Hetfield has actually failed Sorrow Bash once, which is something that we tend to see as more of a consistent thing for a lot of the lower time runners, especially somebody like Hetfield. As opposed to even like Grotto Skip is one of those things that I would almost expect to see more failures with than Sorrow Bash at someone of Het's level. And that's something he hasn't failed yet.
Yeah, I think, Sorrow can just get you sometimes. And I think we just suffer from small sample size here. It's hard to draw conclusions from 3 races. Maybe if the tournament was really long and we did 50 races, then we would see if there was a pattern of second tries. But yeah,
of course. Well,
and looking down a little bit more, you see Het got 2 first try door warps, which I'm sure he felt were wasted on races rather than back in the day when he was, going for a world record where he missed door warp once in that 3109 run. And yeah, I know he doesn't like that trick very much, but looks like he's had a better time with it than Fant at least.
Yeah, Fant, I think he's gone back and forth on mashing and timing. I'm not 100% sure on his method of door warp. But yeah, as you can see there from the stats, certainly not had as good of a time with it. Looks like we are starting up our runners in just a moment. And there we go. They're off. We'll get them synced up for you. Important notes for the early game, I guess, would be that Hetfield actually has recently done an advanced guide for a lot of minor optimizations throughout the entire run. And so watching Hetfield, I'm sure we'll see a lot of those. We'll have to see, kind of Fant's chance to potentially catch up at all or get a lead in this early game is if Het messes up one of those minor optimizations, since I don't think Fant has really adopted those into his run yet.
Yeah, that guide is very high quality. If you're, I wouldn't recommend watching it when you're just learning Ori. Like, get the route down first, but then after you've been running for a bit, you definitely want to check out Het's guide. It's long and it's detailed, but it gives you all these like quarter to half second time saves all over the place. So we see, kind of as to be expected, a frame tie up until sign of this movement. It's pretty straightforward, but we're going to soon see probably Het pull away a little bit here in the early game. Now, one thing to note is that Het will not take the 4th health cell on his way over to wall jump. It's a cell that is just purely for safety. It just makes some sections less likely to kill you later on in the game. But he has only ever gone 3 health. He's never, even when he began to learn Ori in vanilla, he never went 4 health. From the very beginning, he only went 3.
Wow, starting off with the most optimal strats. That's pretty crazy and sounds exactly like Hetfield. But there we go. We can see some of those minor optimizations already giving Het a little bit of a lead here. Not too much, nothing that's going to be insurmountable or anything necessarily, but it will, of course, add up. Fant having a bit of trouble with one of the jumps there, but no deaths or anything, so making it through just fine.
Yeah, so you can see already, it's like this is Het right here. He gets that key at 155. He's already opened up a 6-7 second lead, and there barely has been any of the game played so far. So if you're looking to yourself and saying, people with
Fant almost died there. Sorry, I was really worried.
That was close.
Needle was about to snipe him. He was definitely sitting at 1 health. Gave him an optimal ghost store, but taking 2 damage from that slime on the way, and then narrowly he had to commit to that. He just sat there and held left and goes, this is either going to hit me or it's not. And wow, what a call by Fant there.
That's solid. That's one of the worst deaths you can take. I think the only worst death is the one we saw in one of the earlier races where there was a death right before getting into Blackroot. Fant got a little bit held up in the elbow there, but he manages to get through okay. He manages to blast those slimes without more than just the 1 unnecessary hit, so he's good. Het getting his level up on the way down, and he'll be off to wall jump.
Fant rather got kind of held up trying to pick up some experience that didn't drop how he expected. He had a nicer job with that slime. I was a little worried since he had to kill him on the way back, but he'll probably be getting the level up he expects now. I think he's going for the level up on the way out. Yes, he will be. Hetfield, meanwhile, sitting at 317 wall jump time is just absolutely insane in one of these tournaments.
Yeah, he actually, you were looking over at Fant's screen. He clicked wall jump at 313, so it's yeah.
Oh, my mistake.
Very strong wall jump time. To be completely clear about it, the fastest ever done by a human is 311, and that's with different strats than what Het's doing here, which basically means 312 is as good as you could possibly get, and he's got a 313 here, so there you go. One neat little optimization you see Het doing is at the top of walls, he does a neutral jump, which prevents Ori from doing a vault animation. It's easy to fall off a wall while doing this, but it saves little bits of time all over the place, and not many people go for these, but that's one of Het's little tricks that he uses all over the place.
Yeah, and that's something that he's adopted from working on ninja jumps for a very long time. We'll see more of those as we get around to double jump. I guess another thing to point out as we're coming up to the first save anywhere of the match here is that Fant is a controller runner. He'll be running on Xbox 360 controller, if I'm not mistaken, maybe an Xbox One controller. And Hetfield is a mouse and keyboard runner. So some small differences here and there from that, some larger ones in other places. And we'll have to see how well Fant can manage to mine the gap between the two devices.
Yeah, on top of running on keyboard mouse, Het also has some of the craziest bind setups. A lot of the time, keyboard mouse users will play one hand on the keyboard, one hand on the mouse for the entirety of the game, but Het actually spends a lot of the time with his right hand operating the numpad, which he has a whole bunch of different binds on. That's how he ninja jumps. His right hand is doing the jumps, his left hand is doing the movement. And
Ah.
I'm not saying that's better or anything, but it's just kind of interesting little note there. So Het's proceeding now through the spooky lantern part of BRB. I don't know what his health is at. It depends on how many drops he got on his way over, but he doesn't get hit, so everything's all good. Fant progressing along smoothly as well. Like, there's quite a lead opened up between them at this point, and I would not expect it to close, but that's nothing against Fant. This is just how it looks when you play against the world record holder when he's in good form, and since he has knocked the rust off for the most part, it's going to be tough to keep up.
Yeah.
Fant taking death there to the spikes, but he has a save right there, so it's not too bad, not too painful.
Fant actually did wait to make that save, so you can't actually make the save while the door is being revealed by the falling orb, and so Fant actually didn't make a save early enough. I was worried he was going to progress without one, but he took the time, stopped, made a save, and it ended up saving him there for sure.
Ooh, Head actually missed his cycle minute, so he just dropped 8 seconds there. And that's going to put him hopelessly far behind his PB.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing quite as many of those deltas between the PBs and the runner for Het. Kind of the curse of being the world record holder there.
Yeah, another thing to note coming up is that the Frankie walk trick, which follows after dash, there's a variation on it called the fast Frankie walk, which has been mentioned a few times before, which saves 7 seconds and risks losing 50. Het will not go for it. He did once in his first tournament race just to show off, basically, but he's not going to go for it in races. He says it's not a race strat, it's stupidly risky, it's not worth doing. So, it's just a difference between race strats, basically, and PB strats, and that's why we're not going to be updating Het's PB a bunch during the race, because he's going to be about 20 seconds behind going into double jump as a result of that cycle miss and as a result of strat differences, and catching up 20 seconds against the world record is nearly impossible.
Pretty difficult, yeah, even with the new tech that was discovered recently in Sara Pass. I mean, 20 seconds is just going to be ridiculous to catch up to. Seeing some nice little neutral hops, as Sigma mentioned, from Hetfield on the right. Meanwhile, Fant's about to pick up dash himself. Nothing too major from Fant in the early game in terms of mistakes, just a few small hiccups here and there with the experience, and of course that one death in BRB, but it was a fairly quick one. So I imagine he's still sitting pretty nice on his against his PB, and certainly still has that out as a hope for the rest of the run.
Yeah, I've got his splits up here, and he's actually leading his PB by 8 seconds right now, so looking good for Fant. He definitely has the potential to put on a solid showing in this run.
I will say Fant's throwing in quite a few more dash optimizations than you normally see out of a runner with a 39 time. I'm liking it so far. Hopefully he kind of sticks with it throughout the rest of the run. It doesn't backfire on him anywhere.
Dude, well, you heard it here first. Fant is not going to have a 39 time for very long. In approximately 27 minutes, we'll find out what his new time will be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Fant has, for somebody who doesn't have as much time to practice, full-time job, all that kind of thing, as some runners, for having run it as little time as he has, I feel like he's put a lot of work into it. He's unfortunately, takes
but he got the bonus energy. Nice.
He got the energy drop from the Frankie, so fantastic from Fant. These safety saves are working out for him perfectly. Unfortunately, he's getting a little too much value out of that one, and we're gonna have to freeze frame it just to shame him a bit, I guess. That's what happened there. Meanwhile, on the right side, Hetfield rather is going to miss the spider shot, but quickly die to the Frankie there and make his way through the ghost door.
Fant is getting bodied by the death run. This is why it's called the death run, by the way. There's a lot of things that will kill you and quickly in here. Het's now at double jump. Fant is looking in a precarious position against that crusher, but I think he's going to be safe once the internet issues resolve themselves. And indeed he is. He's up to the... he's almost up to the energy cell.
That was really smart of him to be able to adjust there. He was going for a dash glide, I believe, and then had to fall back instead of trying to commit to it when it didn't work. So a little sketchy, but he's made it to his next save. And knowing Fant, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for the Grotto early cycle here, although I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it from him.
Yeah, that setup looks like his first dash was a little far right, and then the wall jumps are a bit off, so he didn't get it there. He hasn't gotten it before in the tournament. It takes a lot of practice to be able to make that cycle, um, and it's kind of when there's a million different things to practice in Ori, it's pretty far down the priority list for a long time because you need to put in a lot of effort to even have a chance at getting it. See how Fant's Ghost Door goes here, gets the save off, dies to Frankie, pretty solid there. Het's cruising along through Grotto here in the meantime. This part is really fun to watch Het play through because there's a lot of very long wall jumping sections where he'll just do these chains of ninja jumps, which barely save any time, but they look cool, and you get a frame or two here and there after you do it for a bunch. You'll see Ori flipping all over the place. It's fun to watch. Getting hit there by that slime, that's not a big deal. He still has 2 health. There's 1 intentional damage boost that he's going to do coming up, and he'll be leveling up soon after that. So unintentional damage, but not going to be too much of an issue.
Yeah, not something that's going to be a big problem for him. There's the damage boost. And I as someone who's a big fan of ninja jumps, I completely agree. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the run, at least in the first half. And Het just putting on a clinic of how to do it, going very smoothly for himself. Looks like we've got Fant with an excellent grotto skip there. It's
That was nice.
His way now. And we'll soon be picking up the water vein after a little bit of a save glitch, skipping that cutscene. Meanwhile, on the right, Hetfield cruising along. He'll be at Ginso fairly soon. Should be a very low 12-minute time entering Ginso, which is fantastic and pretty much exactly what we're expecting out of him. Touching the teleporter again, for later, so you can teleport to it from, or for the last teleport in the game. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words a little bit there, figuring out what I wanted to say.
Now, coming up in Ginso, there's a new trick called the Mr. Asmus cycle, named by Het for the tech that Mr. Asmus accidentally discovered in his first race. Now, Het said he's not going to go for it because it's going to leave him at 1 health for the mini-boss, and he doesn't want to deal with that. So I don't think he's going to go for it here. It only saves half a second. But we'll salute Mr. Asmus's memory as we go past the spot because, Het's doing it for him. He's making this run to the tournament finals for Mr. Asmus.
Het is also one of the few runners to go for telehops here, and they're giving him a bit of trouble now. He finally does make it up there. I think one of them he actually got almost all the way up to the top, and unfortunately just slightly fell, or slightly made a mistake and ended up falling all the way. So a little bit of time spent there. Fant, if he manages without any issues with the normal climb, could potentially save some time there. And Fant luckily has made it all the way out of Grotto.
He is doing the Mr. Asmus cycle. I was mistakenly informed he did it anyways. He had to actually wait for the save, and he missed the shot with him, so he just lost like 5 seconds doing this. But it doesn't.
And he missed again. He doesn't move the block.
He's writing something with his mouse. Oh my gosh.
Okay, he was not looking. I guarantee he looked over at another monitor or another window or something during that time, thinking, "Oh, I can't believe I went for that," and didn't realize that he missed a second shot.
I want to know what he wrote. He was writing letters there as he was missing the second shot. Goodness.
Meanwhile, while Het's working on the mini-boss, showing us the power of paced shots, we've got Fant making his way to Ginso finally. So a little bit of time for Fant to catch up, basically for free. I wouldn't say the platforming is completely free. However, it certainly is not something that is likely to cost him near as much time as Hetfield just lost for missing 2 cycles and taking a death. Or really 1.5 cycles if we count one of them as being the early one.
Yeah, that was funny. All right. I wonder if Fant's gonna go for it. He definitely knows about it because he watched the VOD and he saw the Discord discussion on it after. Oh boy, Het taking a death there, and he didn't save post mini boss, so he's got to do it again. That's actually a pretty costly death.
That was very unfortunate. And that safety save is absolutely free too. It's not even something that costs you time or costs you a valuable energy. So
yeah, what happened was kind of weird. I don't know if he normally skips that safety save, but he got trolled really badly by the mini-boss's experience not magneting for a while in the bottom left, and he barely made it to the door as it was opening, so maybe he just forgot to save because of that. He placed a save this time, and now he's progressing back through. But that's the kind of thing that Fant needs to catch up, like 1 or 2 more deaths like that, like really painful deaths right before your next save, and Fant could be back in this if he just keeps going along steadily.
Fant's unfortunately made a mistake, I believe, twice now in this puzzle room. He's having trouble getting the redirector into the correct spot. He's letting go a bit early. That one finally worked out for him, but I guess unfortunately doesn't know the tech there, pushing the redirector all the way in without letting go early.
The setups for that kind of thing can be a little arcane sometimes because you can't really tell what somebody's doing exactly from watching them. So it can take some time before you eventually learn. Het moving through the redirector while Fant's going through the mini-boss. So Fant's closing the gap a bit, but I don't imagine... Okay, this is another cool thing from Het here. This saves 10 frames to do a double bash here and then slam yourself into those spikes instead of doing the normal damage boost. I don't think anybody else does it but him because they're not crazy.
I did see Rufus do it on 5 health.
It makes a lot of sense to do on 5 health.
Yeah, he actually took 2 damage boosts, one up the wall and one up the normal wall where Het did the double bash, and one up the second wall, the one near the keystone. So kind of a cool thing that we saw from... We see it from the world record holder in one way, and we see it from somebody who grabs 5 health. You know, it's kind of cool how those 2 strats can end up being combined. Looks like Het's doing perfectly fine with the second mini boss. Fant's grab bash now, so as Sigma mentioned, the gap has remained about the same, I'd say now. Definitely closed some of the lead that would have normally extended throughout Ginso for Fant, and it's unfortunate Fant couldn't catch up more time. He had a nice double bash though on controller there to get this earlier movement outside of the redirectors there, or the spitters.
That was awesome. I gotta say that was awesome. Double bash on controller is super hard.
That is one of those ones.
Cheese it on keyboard mouse, but on controller it's just really hard.
That's one of those ones I always go for and never get. So as another fellow controller runner, Fant, I salute you and thank you for getting that as well as going for it. He'll be doing his key duplication here now. It looks like he does not go for the instant kill, but instead goes for the nudging, and he does it beautifully, so he'll be totally fine there, making his way after Rekindle. Meanwhile, Het is making his way through the escape, and looks like there are no real problems for him.
Yeah, it looks like Fant took a death going up the spikes towards his second pass of the key dupe, but he had the Rekindle off, so he's A-okay. I don't think Het took any damage from the
second death for Fant.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think Het took any damage in the escape, which means we're going to get to see a new deboost in Swamp, which saves half a second, which he found yesterday. So this is going to be a little fun way to skip the second shot from the mortar worm that everybody will maybe eventually be doing if it's not super spooky. I haven't tried it myself yet, so
yeah, we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Fant took unfortunately another death. It looks like he's not really having too many issues in a lot of places, but the places where he is getting caught, and having some deaths, they're happening multiple times in a row. We saw it with the Death Gauntlet, and we saw it here now in Ginso. So hopefully, if he just manages to not die throughout the rest of this race, then we won't see too many mistakes from him. I don't know, but hopefully you can tighten that up. Hetfield,
yeah, it's kind of just a bit of a slew of like 10-second deaths and stuff, like not too big, but they start to add up. And aside from his mishap leading into the bash room, has had a pretty good run so far.
Definitely. It's it's a very odd place to see the kind of mishaps from Hetfield there. If you expect someone to take a mistake somewhere at Het's level, you'd expect to be on one of the major tricks that are really specific. But I have an idea that those are going to go completely fine for Het, and it's kind of the unusual things that will end up tripping him up, as we saw.
Yeah. Something I can tell you about how Het plays is that he does less runs than most people and lots more practice. So I can tell you for sure that he did not practice the room before Bash, because that room was really easy. And He probably barely played it at all leading up to this. All his practice, I think, was concentrated on things like his new swamp damage boost and the cool strats we'll see coming up in Sorrow in a little bit. Het going for Kuro cutscene skip. There's no cutscene there. I don't know why he stopped and bothered to bash, so he's just moving along cleanly.
Oh, we do love our jokes. Meanwhile, he's going to be grabbing the 5th energy. I don't think this is something he did in his group stage matches, if I'm not mistaken. So this is something he's adapted for the bracket stage specifically.
This is new, and he's actually only using it partially for speed, which is kind of odd, but he hasn't had the time to put in the practice to actually like pull off all of the 5 energy movement through Misty that makes it actually faster. He is specifically taking that because he wants to safety save in Misty, because he knows he's rusty with the game, relative to how he was when he was on the world record grind, and he doesn't want to have like a 2-minute long death in Misty, so he's taking the 5th energy for safety, and because it helps you do the awesome Sorrow strats. I don't think it's even routed for how you do it with 4 energy, but I'm sure you could work it out somehow. So now Het going along into Valley, Fance moving his way up into Stomp. He's got a little bit of a swing on this platform here. This is one of the reasons the damage boost is nice, because when the platforms swing, that Mortar Worm despawns sometimes, but he gets up there nicely, and now he'll be grabbing Stomp. Let me check his pace. Let's see, Stomp. He's a bit behind his PB now, but he's still close, and I think he can still PB off of this.
As I mentioned, I think his level of play, Fance level of play this race has looked really good. It's just those few spots where once he's made a mistake, he has kind of made it multiple times in a row, and had a few quick deaths in a row, which of course have added up. But he can certainly pull it back. I'd love to see him do that myself, and can hopefully give us a really solid late game. Looks like, take a look at the right side of your screen. It looks like Hetfield is going to be coming up to fast Stompless soon. Can't imagine he won't be going for it. Yes, he has made the decision. We'll be definitely going for it now. And I wouldn't expect to see him mess this up. He has a very nice placement of that shot there, visual cue with the mouse. And as long as the spider shoots form, which it does, it looks like he's going to be perfectly fine. There it is. Beautiful fast Stompless from Het. And he has not missed that once in this tournament so far.
All right, so while Het's sitting in the Feather cutscene, Fant is coming up to the Kuro cutscene skip, so we'll see if that Kuro cutscene exists in this race or not. Fant has only gotten the Kuro skip once out of 4 attempts. He's got a safety save in place in case he hits the spikes, and now he's going to be trying to set up the bash. Position's good.
Looks
and
perfect.
Nice.
Wow.
That was solid.
Nice.
That is a hard trick to do.
That was a beautiful setup too. He didn't hesitate on his positioning, didn't kind of wait on a second frog shot or anything like that. He just knew that he was good and he went.
All right, so now I'm going to direct your attention back to Hetfield's side of the screen on the right, because now we're getting to Sorrow, and this is where the new tech from yesterday or 2 days ago is going to come in. We saw Raziel do this earlier today. Rather than going through the laser, he's going to get rid of that slime because he hates it, and then he's going to start doing charge dash stomp cancels at this frog, which is way faster than double bashing it up. And this tech, if you do it correctly, saves 10 to 15 seconds, but on any of these, he only has 2 frames to stomp, and if he hits the 3rd frame on any of them, which he didn't, the frog would die and he would fail the trick. But he's just blazing through Sorrow right now. That was actually really beautiful. Not only did he do it, but he did it very fast.
I think I only saw him. So as Sigma was mentioning, it's 1 to 2 frames for all of those charge dashes. I think the second frame is the most optimal, and I think I only saw 1, maybe 2 1-frame dashes there. So
yeah,
not only was that just good that it even worked, it was amazing because it was almost the most optimal it could be done.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh god, his laser cycle's
we were giving him too much credit. He had to make us look bad, so he'll be taking it safely on the way back. What I'm curious about actually is that he ended up grabbing energy on his way to that trick. But he did grab the 5th energy cell earlier, so I'm kind of curious if he was expecting to make a safety save but didn't or something.
No, you actually need to get that, so I can talk to you about that. The normal way 5 energy does Sorrow is you skip the 2 energy on the cliff left of Sorrow, right? and you have to go up to the teleporter to level up your skill. But going to the teleporter is really slow. So what we do instead is we save right after Feather and then get that energy on the way down. And the only reason you used to not get that energy on the way down with the old 5 energy strat is because you didn't go back down after the rocket jump. But when you're going back down, it's really close to get that energy. Now the alternative is you could carry a save anywhere all the way through Valley and do fast samples with save anywhere up, but Hetfield was like, screw that, let's get the energy. It takes like 1 second, so that's the strat.
Oh. Yeah, oh man, Fant unfortunately just ran into a lot of problems going for fast Stompless there. Eventually just decided it wasn't worth it. He had placed a safety save near the ability cell, so he decided to take an intentional death there, just get back to the cell faster than traversing there himself, and just go for the normal method here. Takes a nice little hop on that wall.
Yeah, I like that left
second
wall jump. That's very nice.
So Fant, unfortunately, having some more issues there with the fast Stompless. Would have loved to see him get that time save, but he'll be making his way into Sorrow shortly after grabbing Feather, placing that save up at the top to rekindle later. Meanwhile, Hetfield just flying through Misty.
Yeah, we'll see how aggressive he goes with this S spike. Whoa!
Jeez.
Okay, so you
what
can
spike?
feather.
There are no spikes there.
Oh my
They patched
gosh.
him out, man.
You can feather only once through there, and he was going for it because he did the long feather up top, and then he freaked out and nearly feathered himself into spikes. That is so scary to do.
It looked he moved the spikes without getting hit by them somehow. That was unbelievable.
This is how you get the world record. Is you just become one with the spikes.
Yeah.
This is the Hetfield style right here. So I gotta say, Het's pace is nuts. Like he had some issues in Genso, but the rest of the game was amazing. And here he is using the 5 energy for safety because, like I said, he
catches that stomp just in time with the feather. That was very nice. That's the kind of thing that you expect to see out of somebody who has put so much practice into this game, as Sigma you were mentioning.
Ouch. Fant taking a few deaths to Sorobash here. This trick is pretty rough. He's got a good setup on the birds here this time, though. Let's see how this falls through. I like that. This is a great setup.
Beautiful.
Nice.
I was a bit worried he'd get hit by those spikes there, but he did a nice job. Messes up the rocket jump, and instead of trying a second attempt, he's going to save the energy. Probably a good call there. He most likely is already planning to grab the energy that Het grabbed earlier, but in order to make a safety save. So very good call from him to, yeah, there it is, grabbing the energy there. Meanwhile, Hetfield's just almost completely done with this run already.
Yeah, very nice. He's now got to dump a bunch of energy. This is the nice thing about 5 energy strat is you have a whole bunch of uncancelled. Oh, okay.
I spoke too soon.
Well, he located a 3 damage flower, and that hurts. But unlike the 4 energy strat, he has a safety save, so he didn't go all the way back to climb. So he only lost like 20 seconds there instead of, 2 minutes, so that's pretty good.
Or an extra safety save this time, just in case. Meanwhile, Fant is juggling his frog. No problems there. Hopefully we'll get a nice little rocket jump here. Oh, he got hurt. Oh, he winged it, though, and he managed to get up there just fine. I'm sure he was
I like that.
About those laser cycles.
I like him just going straight into that after getting
Of course.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's exactly what I've come to expect out of Fant from this. And I can't be too surprised because it's the kind of stupid thing I would do, and I showed him the game. So I'm not too surprised. I'm hoping bad habits don't rub off nearly as much, though. And
all right,
I don't know how Fant's doing, but I think he's got like a pretty good run going for himself. Maybe not quite PB pace, but
let me take a look here. He has got a Sunstone split in here, so we can update quite quickly. 28:42 for Sunstone split, and he was about 29 here, so he's still hanging around 18 seconds back, but he can definitely save that time. It's possible to sneak a PB still in this run, so I'd love to see that out of Fan.
Definitely. Hetfield, meanwhile, is about to skip his cutscene in the light grenade area. Does it nicely with the long save anywhere. Not many runners doing that. I think it's mainly just Hetfield and Hydra at this point.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those
there
things
was
that
somebody
saves you the time to drop another save.
There was somebody who did a really long save anywhere on controller. I don't remember who it was.
I know Lucy has
mixing up all the matches. It's terrible though. It saves almost no time. I don't even want to do it on
pretty
keyboard.
bad. Rufus apparently was who you were thinking of, and just did it today.
There we go.
So.
See, I knew it was some.
Oh,
Oh boy,
Hetfield running into some problems, going for a rocket jump there. Gonna have to wait on this laser too. He's still sitting at a lot of energy though, so not gonna be a problem that he missed a crystal there. And he did take his level up earlier, so doesn't need the 100 experience that a lot of runners opt for during that escape.
Fant is going for the level up to Misty mini boss route rather than the ability cell route. This isn't faster with 4 energy; it's only faster with 5. But most people are taking 5 in the tournament for safety, anyways, and it is great for safety even with 4 because it gives you a lot more ability to save in Misty without losing time. So if you're planning to be a sane human being and place a safety save somewhere between climb and the mini boss, then this is the way to do it.
Safety saves, what are those?
I don't know. So I gotta ask you, Hubs. Is Fant gonna do a meatball strat? Are we gonna see a meatball strat?
Oh, I would love it. I have no idea. Unfortunately, I would love if he does. I don't think he will. I don't think really anybody does it. I mean, everybody's just losing a free second as far as I'm concerned. But I don't think he will. We'll take a close look. But first, we got to take a close look at Hetfield because he's on door warp now, and this is his first attempt at it.
How's it gonna go? He doesn't get it.
Not in one try, unfortunately. So if he gets it here, tying that world record, and there it is.
So pretty good. Het is not the most consistent of door warpers. I would argue that nobody's really all that consistent, but we have seen some people in the tournament with a whole bunch of first try door warps. Het kind of matching his average there. He got it 4 times in one race and first try in 2 other races. So getting a second try here is kind of middle ground. It's a pretty good door warp, world record pace door warp. So we'll say it's pretty good.
Oh, Fant taking some damage and is unfortunately kicked back to a safety save. It was very close though. Man, these saves are working out very well for him.
Wait. He went down, but he didn't have the key yet on his saves. He had to kill himself to get back up there.
Wow, that was unbelievable. I could have sworn I saw no key there.
Right on top of the key.
Must have blocked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely missed that too.
Well, if that's the case, he's also down in energy because he broke that crystal. Okay, he has turned his UI on. He is now familiar with it. Meanwhile, Hetfield on the right, we glanced right over the final escape, but beautiful job from him. He's going to be ending with a nice 33 minute time, that is.
Looks like a 33:40 something or other there. Most of that was that death. That really, really bad death in Ginso, and then just pretty much good play from the rest of
a little bit of
the run.
Death coming back from Sunstone as well.
Oh yeah, that one.
Nothing too major on that one. Meanwhile, Fant, as expected, didn't really go for meatball strats there. I'm sure the low energy kind of shook him up too. He's sitting at 1 right now. He'll probably grab this one before the mini boss. He does. Let's see if he goes for the quick kill, the boom, boom, boom. And he attempts it, and he actually does a nice job on it.
I actually don't know how that works, but it did.
Yeah, it was very odd. I think
that
he
bot
ended up getting
had so much health left when he started going down, and then just died. I'm gonna have to watch the bot and see what actually happened.
He was shooting it, so
okay.
He did kill it with sign, I believe. And maybe he hit it with a midair stomp too, and that was kind of how it happened.
That's what I was thinking, is because I thought I saw it in yellow, and I was like, you can't kill it in yellow with Spirit Flame. But anyways, the boss died 1 cycle, very nice. So moving on to light grenade for Fant. Oh boy. Okay, so we get to see the backup here.
Hiccup there.
We had seen some people earlier in the tournament not know that you can wall charge jump to get out of there quickly. There's also a very, very tricky double jump you can do without using charge jump off the wall. Charge jump off the wall to get out of valley when you fall down is by far the best. But yeah, it's kind of a weird backup. If you never fall down there and suddenly you fall down in there in the tournament race, you can be like, where do I go?
Yeah. Fant
knew it, so that's good.
Knows those backups. Taking the intentional death here. He'll be making his way over to light grenade. I want to point out that Fant has been using stomp cancels quite a bit now throughout all these later areas, and that's something we don't see a lot of the time from runners with the high 30, the 38s, 39s. Like, it's not something you generally often see until somebody gets down to a 35 or lower time. So it's pretty cool that, again, as we've talked about Fant's mindset, he's always got that ambition of, I want to give an exciting race. I want the run to be exciting. So that comes both into exciting for the audience and I'm sure exciting for him to play, as those stomp cancels can be very, very beautiful when you get multiple of them in a row.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think another neat thing to note about stomp cancels is like you can learn them at any point you want to, because the inputs are the same all over the place. Like you do have to have quite some planning into how you use them and quite some practice into the areas you're going to do them in, but there's nothing to stop you from picking up the game and immediately learning stomp cancels. I think it's neat to see that kind of thing, just because it seems like more advanced tech to us who ran before stomp cancels were a thing, and it was like, whoa, this is so hard when they came in.
Yeah, I mean, now we've got people doing multiple 1 to 2 frame tricks in a row in Sorrow Pass, so certainly the run is kind of accepted a lot more things as not as difficult as we once thought.
Oh my gosh, Fant got beat up by that swarm. That was...
Yeah.
He killed the first swarm, and then suddenly there was like 4 of them spawned. That's how those enemies work, and they hit him from behind with a chair, and he was out for the count. So, but he had a close save on that teleporter, because you save when you teleport. So he's good, and he's on his way to Horu now.
Yeah, I also think he got hit by one of the crushers, one of the swinging crushers on the way to that swarm, because he earlier had to push the rock in instead of pulling it out on his way to Ginso, which meant that he couldn't do the charge dash through the crushers entirely. So I'm sure that was a little bit of an on-the-fly kind of adaptation that didn't quite work out as well for him.
Yeah, I know personally, anytime that I mess up the cycle on the way to Ginso and I have to push the rock rather than pull it, I will absolutely forget that I did that. And when I come back, I'm just going to slam myself straight into a spike because of that.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a look now. Fant has not gotten a first try door warp in the tournament until this match. Yeah!
In there.
Excellent job from Fant. I wanted to get that in there, get the prediction, and beautiful. So Fant really, I mean, clearly that was just him trying to show that he has the world record caliber, world record holder beating caliber level door warp there. That was a lot of hyphenated words in a row. But
I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah. Fant had to beat Het in something, and he beat him in door warp.
He beat him in door warp? He beat him in death count on the room before Bash in Ginso.
That is true.
That's pretty solid right there,
Yep, he did not beat him in spitter cycles though in Ginso in the puzzle room. Unfortunately, he had the chance. We believed in you, and now he is unfortunate. He threw a good light grenade.
I love it.
He threw light grenade instead of saving the energy.
The question is he gonna kill the fish? He's
no.
not. I believe. Okay.
Only with light grenade. It only works with light grenade, obviously. He must have had a half of an energy there and decided to throw a light grenade since he couldn't do fish strats anyways. So
I appreciate it.
Great job from Fant, and that. Holy crap! Wait, hold on.
I was not paying attention. Let me check this.
I think that was a. Oh man, that was either a PB or it's going to be within seconds.
He's like 15 seconds ahead.
Wow, fantastic, Fant. That's. I mean,
Fant, get up.
You can't ask for much more than getting a PB in a race against the world record holder. Fant, of course, was asking for much more, but he only wanted to beat Het if it was in the finals, and since it wasn't, he decided, I'm going to go ahead and bow out on this one, and I'm just going to take a nice little PB for myself as a consolation prize and let Het move on forward.
Yeah, Fant made a pretty sweet graphic when the tournament started, tracking in a linear fashion his PB improvement over time, and he had a line going down, it wasn't going to slow down as he approached the world record. It was straight up hitting the world record, but I think he's needed a couple more weeks before it made it there, and unfortunately, because of the way seeding worked out, he had to play Het right away, so he couldn't play him 2 weeks later when his time's at 30, I guess. And
unfortunate. But hey, he gets to take a PB.
Yeah.
That. Well, we see the victory from Het, so congratulations to him, and the PB from Fant. That's kind of the best scenario you can get when you have one person win and the other person get a PB. Can't be too disappointed. So beautiful job from Fant.
I actually miscounted the time myself. He still PB'd, but it was only 6 seconds. But still, PB's a PB. and
That's why
that's
I was
something
so
good.
nervous. I saw when he dashed into the cutscene, and I was going, he's either going to miss it by a couple seconds or get it by a few. So,
Also to
fantastic
note
job.
is in 3 out of his 5 races in this tournament, Fant has PB'd. So he is a race PB monster.
Wow. That's insane. 3 out of 5. 60% chance to PB in a tournament race.
Dude, he's going to be looking forward to the next tournament, I think, for sure.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that is going to call the end to Fant's tournament run. Didn't quite get the chance to take out Hetfield in the finals, but at least he brought his time down to a very respectable 39-25, and hopefully it will not be the end of running Ori for him by any means. I can't imagine. And
Yeah.
Hetfield, congratulations. We'll be seeing him further in the round of 16.
So one interesting thing I want to bring up, talking about some of the other matches across the board here, is Het pulled off a 33-46 in this race. And you could say, losing a minute having to fight the mini-boss twice in Ginso was most of the cause of that. But if we look at people who've pulled off times around that in the round of 32, let's take a look here. We have Lucy. Oh, wait, that's not 33. That's 34-47, but still, that's close. Terra earlier today beat that with a 33-33. Vuligen, only a few seconds behind, he PB'd in his round of 32 race with a 33-52. So I know the Het is the huge favorite to win this tournament, and to some extent, he's just a tad rusty right now, and I expect as he gets into the later rounds, he's going to be more practiced for his opponents. But that's a very vulnerable time, I think, from Het. Like, perhaps what people are expecting is the machine to come out and he's just going to bust out a bunch of 31s and nobody's going to have a chance. But he could be upset. He's not invincible.
Well, what we did see is Het having a lot of trouble with mini bosses. You mentioned the one in Ginso, but he also died after the one in Misty. And yeah, it wasn't to the mini boss, but I think all we need to see is that a few of these other runners just need to go ahead and pay off these mini bosses and tell them, hey, just give Het a really hard time, or change the RNG, make him die somewhere right after you, and have to fight him again, because he had to fight 4 mini bosses, he had to fight 2 mini bosses twice. I was trying to find a good way to phrase that, but it looks like maybe it's just one of those things where, like you said, he's a little bit rusty, and it's those things that he probably wasn't going to practice much. The movement after you beat the mini boss in Misty, the movement over to the teleporter in Sorrow isn't really that difficult, so it's not always something that you're going to focus a lot of time on. But the strats in Sorrow that we saw went beautifully, so clearly the practice paid off there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's just, he has been doing some no reset runs, but you do no reset runs, you don't always come across those kind of deaths. And when you've been focusing on finding awesome new strats for everybody to use, like the Sorrow thing and the Swamp thing, you've kind of spent more of your time there. So, yeah, nice race, though. I really enjoyed that one quite a bit.
Yeah, I would have to say that was a fantastic race.
Thank you. Somebody had to say that one.
Of course, it had to be said.
I was going to say it pretty soon.
We'll close on that, though. I think we're going to take a little break here. And I guess the last thing to mention is Hetfield will be up against Grimelios in the round of 16. And we know from earlier that Raziel will be up against Isaacs. So we'll have to see how that round of 16 goes for the Ori division of the All Skills tournament. Meanwhile, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to be hopping off commentary. Sigma is going to be sticking around with the one and only Fant TV. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you all in a little bit.
Yep, just stick around, 10-minute break or so, and we will be back with another match after this.